Morris Jones covers the federal headlines and gets the latest insights and opinions from the top minds in federal IT.
This week on Government Matters.
The TSA is failing 95% of the time. They're failing the American people.
Undercover investigators reveal systemic failures at airport checkpoints. Now it's Judgment Day for the TSA.
I think Edward Snowden is a traitor and should be thrown in jail.
2 years after explosive revelations by Edward Snowden, Congress approved sweeping changes to U.S. surveillance law.
And liftoff. The Falcon takes flight.
The U.S. Air Force says SpaceX can compete in future national security space missions.
GSA hasn't really waived the burden of the price reduction clause in the proposed rule.
GSA says the transaction data reporting rule will give them market intelligence. But is their proposal all stick and no carrot? Government Matters starts right now.
From ABC 7 and News Channel 8, this is Government Matters.
To our viewers around the world on the American Forces Network and here in the nation's capital, thanks for joining us. Government is the engine that runs this city. That's why Government Matters. Every week we'll bring you the top headlines in tech, security, and management. I'm your host, Morris Jones. U.S. officials continue to track the growing threat of ISIS on the internet. Now they believe the terrorist network is using a new weapon to attract recruits and possibly plan attacks. Barbara Starr follows the war being waged in a haven for illegal activity known as the Deep Web.
A secret internet most of us never see in a place most of us have never been.
Barbara Starr reporting. This week, AFCEA Bethesda named the winners of the 2014 government-wide Initiatives Excellence Awards. That list included James Prescorn, program manager for the FBI's NGI biometrics program. The FBI isn't the only organization paying attention to this emerging science. Fingerprints, facial recognition, and iris scans will advance rapidly over the next few years, driven by the public and private sectors. Diane Cho reports.
Walk up to the device, you see that it recognizes you and will open the door.
China calls allegations that it was involved in a cyber attack on U.S. government computers unproven and irresponsible. Chinese officials say they wish the United States would trust them more. FBI investigators believe the hack affected millions of current and former federal workers. Athena Jones has the latest.
The U.S. government is struggling to assess the damage.
It's one of the biggest M&A stories of 2015. EMC Corporation, based in Massachusetts, has entered into a definitive agreement to buy VirtuStream, based in Bethesda, for more than $1 billion. The deal continues a trend of consolidation in the hyper-competitive realm of cloud computing.
The Falcon takes flight, propelling the deep space.
In security matters, SpaceX cleared for launch. The Air Force has just announced that the Falcon 9 launch system is certified for national security space missions. Now SpaceX will be able to compete with the United Launch Alliance, a joint venture between Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Joining me with the latest is Marco Caceres, Senior Analyst and Director of Space Studies with the Teal Group. Marco, this announcement didn't materialize overnight. What led up to it?
Well, this has been coming on for several years. SpaceX has been trying to break the monopoly. SpaceX thinks it can do it for about half the price, roughly $70 to $80 million per launch, and he thinks that's the right way to go for the American public, certainly in terms of the taxpayer.
The Air Force issued a press release about the SpaceX decision. It included a statement from Secretary Deborah Lee James. Ultimately, leveraging of the commercial space market drives down costs to the American taxpayer and improves our military's resiliency. Marco, the Government Accountability Office says the launch market will be worth $70 billion through 2030. Will that figure shrink?
It's hard to say. I think in general, the market has been growing over the course of the last 10 years. Like any other market, there are ups and downs, there are cycles.
In tech matters, an important milestone in the data transformation movement. This month, the U.S. Department of Commerce named 19 people from the public and private sectors to their newly created Data Advisory Council. Their goal? Drive better decision-making in the economy and in society as a whole. For more, I'm joined by one of the architects, Mark Domes, Undersecretary for Economic Affairs at the Department of Commerce. Mark, the list of council members is pretty impressive. Jack Dangermond, CEO of ESRI, Stan Humphreys, chief economist at Zillow, Vadim Kutsi, big data scientist at eBay, Jennifer Palka, executive director of Code for America, and Kim Stevenson, the CIO at Intel. How did you convince all of these people to pitch in?
Well, Boris, we were very lucky. There's a lot of people, especially in the private sector and the tech space, who want to give to the public.
I want to add that the Data Advisory Council meets in Washington once a quarter. Their first meeting starts on April 23rd. Mark Domes, Undersecretary for Economic Affairs at the Department of Commerce, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
In management matters, the pulse of FOIA reform. Complaints about transparency continue to mount. For more, I'm joined by Colby Itkowitz, reporter for the Washington Post. Colby, you write, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee has pulled up a virtual therapy couch for the public to unload about all the times the federal government stymied Freedom of Information Act requests. Tell us more.
The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee has reached out personally to individual reporters, but now has also opened that up to the public and has said, send us your FOIA gripes, and we are going to stockpile those and use them as evidence to show that the White House has not been the most transparent administration.
Now, Congress will return from recess this week and hold a two-day hearing on FOIA obstruction. What are they looking for?
Right, so they're going to be inviting those people to get this information. It shouldn't be so confusing and cumbersome, but will Congress make it a priority?
It's great getting your insight. Colby Itkowitz, reporter for the Washington Post. Thanks again, Colby.
Thank you.
We'll turn from management to final matters straight ahead. The term raised shields may conjure scenes from Star Trek, but the technology is closer than you think. CNN reports Boeing has been granted a patent for a force field-like defense system. It would detect the shock wave from a nearby explosion and use a laser to create an area of ionized air between the oncoming blast and the vehicle it's protecting. And that's the latest from Washington. Thanks for watching. I'm Morris Jones. We know your week is filled with other matters. Save this half hour for us.